Will members please take your seats? Members, please take your seats. Well, good morning. Good morning. The hour for convening having arrived. All members will please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, please, sir, ring the bell. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Just checking. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 157th House District, Representative Chairman Bill Werkheiser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Sergeant First Class Richard Sykes. It's State Patrol Day at the Capitol, and Mr. Sykes attended Georgia Southern University and Armstrong to attend their police academy and has worked at the Georgia Southern Police Department before realizing his lifelong dream of becoming a state trooper, where he was elected by his class as chaplain, which speaks volumes of his character. He is being assigned to Brunswick, Waycross, Hinesville, Rincon, and Reidsville. While quickly climbing through the ranks, he has served as a member of the DPS Critical Incident Support Team and the coordinator of the state's patrol peer team, which if you're on public safety, you know that provides counseling and PTSD support to officers who are involved in horrific incidents. He has served as post commander over the Nighthawk South DUI Task Force. He is currently the post commander of Statesboro, where I did my first ride-along, which all of you are invited to do. Your heart hasn't raced until you look over and you're doing 104 in South Georgia on a 2-lane black road where it's drizzling rain. Just word to your friends, if you think you can outrace these guys, you cannot. Now the good stuff. First of all, he is good friends with Speaker Burns and First Lady Dale Burns. And Speaker graciously allowed me to introduce. He said he already had his allotted day and did not use privilege to use another day. So since Richard's my constituent, but little did they know how closely we were tied. His wife basically grew up in my house because she was best friends with my daughter, and we went to church with his family and his parents, and they were very close friends, Rod and Robin, which I assume are watching online. One of the most powerful testimonies I heard was from his mother-in-law, whose husband was shot and killed in a robbery, and came to the place after many years of grace and just incredible grace to meet the guy face to face and forgive him. And so we've grown very close to their entire family. He's the father of 3 beautiful children, Carter, Kaysen, and Creed, and they all attend Pineview Baptist Church. Richard, come speak to us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to stand before you all and present a brief devotion that God has placed on my heart. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and your colleagues, and Representative Werkheiser, for who you are and for what you stand for. I also want to thank my command staff for their support and their sacrifices as well. When I was first asked about doing this, my immediate response was of hesitation. But then I went to what a better way to represent my agency than to talk about my Savior, Jesus Christ. And also it helped when I saw the alligator. Helped calm my nerves. I knew it was going to be a good day. I'm very humbled to be standing here before you today. I'm no means a preacher, so please don't think that. It will not hurt my feelings, though, if y'all decide to pass the offering plate afterwards. So this won't take long, but I do hope you get something out of it. If nothing else, I know that I need to hear it. I'm here by the grace of God. I've been to many places with the patrol and try to look at it as God having me there for a reason. In saying that, I will lead us into some scripture from the book of Proverbs, starting in chapter 3, verse 19 through 28. I'll read through it and then discuss a little bit. Verse 19, it says, "The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down the dew. My son, let not them depart from your eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, so there will be life to your soul and grace to your neck. Then you will walk safely in your way, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. Yes, you will lie down, and your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror, nor of trouble from the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I will give it, when you have it with you. You know, in this day and age, there's no doubt we live in trying times. In the past couple of years, I've packed my bags multiple times, just waiting for a phone call to see where the next mission would be. My kids have always looked and said, where are you going? And I said, I don't know, but I trusted God. In verse 21, it says, keep sound wisdom and discretion. As we wait for those mission orders, there are ongoing conversations during that time as to how we will carry out what has been said before us, whether that's setting up COVID medical supply transports from Atlanta to Waycross and then to Brunswick in mere hours so they can be dispersed to hospitals and places needed. Or if a phone call is made for the troops to be sent to Atlanta in a moment's notice to secure our capital and other surrounding areas from the sheer destruction and terror by those that lack wisdom and discretion. In any scenario given, we have to use wisdom and discretion, as the proverb states, so our mission can be carried out. As verse 23 says, we will walk safely in our ways and not stumble. It doesn't say it'll be easy. For in verse 25 it states, do not be afraid of sudden terror nor of trouble from the wicked when it comes. We have hope in our Lord and Savior. As verse 26 states, he will be our confidence and will keep us from being caught. What peace there is in knowing that he will take care of us. If he sets it before us, he will provide a way. We can rest in verse 24 as it states, we lie down and we will not be afraid, and our sleep will be sweet. As members of the House of Representatives, I know y'all too face many challenges to carry out your mission each and every year that is set before you. What you do here affects each and every citizen of the state of Georgia. Through the process you'll go through every year, you must keep sound wisdom and discretion as well. As troopers, we're given a lot of discretion to perform our daily duties. I feel the same is true for the representatives. We all face challenges to get our mission moved forward, but as I said before, God will always provide a way if we look to him. I really want to key in on verse 27 as it states, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. One of our core beliefs for the Department of Public Safety is that of compassion. The sole reason I wanted to be a trooper was to help others in need. It was not to see how many tickets I could write. It was not to see how many people I could take to jail. It was a way for me to be a witness to those in need. Oftentimes, when we encounter others, it is possibly the worst day of their life. Every chance I get to do good for those in need, and by the grace of God I'm able to do so, I strive to do that. Now, I'm by no means perfect and don't claim to be. I fall short every day, but His mercies are new every day as well. In my role as a supervisor, I've always tried to stress to my troopers to help others when you're able to, no matter what the scenario is. As I said before, we have a lot of discretion in how we choose to use that sets us apart for the good of the cause. As verse 28 says, do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I will give it when you have it with you. We must act on the issues at hand because that is often when the need is greatest. As each of you represent the 180 different districts in the state of Georgia, you're tasked with representing those districts to the best of your ability, just as troopers represent the state to the best of their ability. I cannot tell you the sheer joy I received when I found out that as the House of Representatives, y'all have a devotion. In a time where many are ashamed to be set apart because of fear of what one may say or what they may think of them, you have allowed me to share a brief devotion with you, and for that I am grateful. As I stand before you, I challenge my colleagues to keep sound wisdom and discretion in their actions. I challenge them to do good to those that are due when they're able to. I understand that most of the time it comes at a personal sacrifice to them, but as Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice for us, we too have vowed to do the same. John 15:13 says, greater love hath no man than this, than to lay his life down for his friend. I too challenge you as the House of Representatives, that as you carry out your duties in the capacity of representatives, that you do not withhold good from those whom is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do so, as verse 27 states. I know that each of you sacrificed a lot to be here, away from your families for several weeks out of the year, and then to even return home still doing your work. I personally want to thank you for those sacrifices, because what you do affects my family personally. Thank you again for this opportunity to share with you all. If you'll stand, we'll have a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you and praise you for this day, Lord, for your many blessings, for your mercy and your grace, for allowing me the opportunity to stand and be a witness for you, Lord. I pray for each and every one that's here that turned aside to do your work, that you bless their families, bless them in their efforts as they progress on in the world that we know that is not our home. We should love you and praise you, and ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Stand for the pledge. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Members, you may greet our chaplain, Sergeant Sykes, in the south anteroom for a photo if you so like. Chair recognizes Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Mr. Speaker,
Suspend just for a moment, Mr. Chair. Let me get a little bit of order. My apologies. This will get your day off to a good start. Chairman Tarvin.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And just something else for you to think about, if we truly believe that we can, we are halfway there already.
No truer words were ever spoken, Chairman Tarvin. Thank you, and I believe. And we are almost halfway there. We're on day 15. We got a couple more. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Administration of the 104th moves the following be established as the order of business in the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. Mr. Clerk will read.
House Bill 263 by Representative Thomas, the 65th bill being titled Act to Amend Chapter 7 and Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 264 by Representative Smith, the 138th Rhodes, the 124th, Williams, the 148th, Corbett, the 174th, and Blackman, the 146th. Bill be titled Act to Amend Code Section 48, 5, 311 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to creation of county boards of equalization.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 265 by Representative Carter, the 93rd, Kendrick, and the 95th, Moore, the 91st, and Taylor, the 92nd. Will be titled an act to amend the act provide for a supplement for the compensation, salary, expenses, and allowances of the Judge of the Superior Court of Rockdale Judicial Circuit.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 266 by Representative Byrd of the 20th, Mathiak of the 74th, Donahue of the 31st, Clark of the 100th, Bonner of the 73rd, and others. Will be titled an act to amend Chapter 12 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to control of hazardous conditions.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 267 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Corbett of the 174th, Rhodes of the 124th, Hitchens the 161st, Evans the 57th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions relative to income taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 268 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Powell of the 33rd, Ridley the 6th, Mathis of the 149th, and Barton of the 5th. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 6A, Title 35 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to Criminal Justice Coordinating Council.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 269 by Representative Blackman of the 146th, Douglas of the 78th, Gaines of the 120th, Oliver of the 82nd, Roberts of the 52nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 50, 14.1 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to meetings open to the public.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 270 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Bruce of the 61st, Miller of the 62nd, and Bazemore of the 69th. Bill be titled an act to provide a homestead exemption from the City of College Park ad valorem taxes for municipal purposes.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 271 by Representative Perkle, the 169th, Corbett of the 174th, Lumsden of the 12th, Jaspers of the 11th, Williams of the 148th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic.
Judiciary.
House Bill 272 by Representative Huddleston of the 72nd, Collins of the 71st, Smith of the 18th, and Smith of the 70th. Bill being titled an act to authorize the municipal court of the city of Carrollton to charge a technology fee.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 273 by Representative Deloach of the 167th, Townsend of the 179th, Williams of the 168th, and Petrie of the 166th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions relevant to the Department of Natural Resources.
Natural Resources and Environment.
House Bill 274 by Representative Jones of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, and Gladney of the 130th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 4 of Title 1 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to holidays and observances.
Defense and Veteran Affairs.
House Bill 275 by Representative Paulo of the 33rd, Corbett of the 174th, Jaspers of the 11th, and Perkle of the 169th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 and Title 51 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions relative to torts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 276 by Representative Scoggins the 14th, Gunther the 8th, Yurda the 152nd, Kelly the 16th, Oliver the 82nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 23-411 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants.
Higher Education.
House Bill 277 by Representative Scoggins the 14th, Gullett of the 19th, Kelly the 16th, Smith of the 18th, Fleming of the 114th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and
House
Means.
Bill 278 by Representative LaHood of the 175th, Buckner of the 137th, Powell of the 33rd, Corbett of the 174th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to athletic trainers.
Health.
House Bill 279 by Representative Gamble of the 15th, Fry of the 122nd, Wiedauer of the 121st, Washburn of the 144th, and Gullett of the 19th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 32 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to property insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 280 by Representative Gamble of the 15th, Lumsden of the 12th, Williams of the 148th, Taylor of the 173rd, Smith of the 18th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to insurance generally.
Insurance.
House Bill 281 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Thomas of the 65th, and Lim of the 98th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 81 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to local government budgets and audits.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 282 by Representative Maynard of the 56th, Werkheiser of the 157th, Wilkerson of the 38th, Smith of the 41st, and Lim of the 98th. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 6 of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to competencies and core curriculum.
Education.
House Bill 283 by Representative Campbell, 135th, Jaspers of the 11th, Bonner of the 73rd, Corbett of the 174th, Smith of the 18th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions applicable to sales and use taxes.
Ways and
House
Means.
Bill 284 by Representative Campbell, 135th, Knight of the 134th, Cameron of the 1st, Methiak of the 74th, Green of the 154th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions for insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 285 by Representative Franklin, the 160th, Carson of the 46th, Martin of the 49th, Williams of the 148th, Rhodes of the 124th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 20, Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, the Public Retirement Systems Investment Authority Law.
Retirement.
House Bill 286 by Representative Iowa, the 50th, Bruce of the 61st, Campbell, the 135th, Oliver of the 82nd, Gilliard of the 162nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 20E of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, the Surprise Bill and Consumer Protection Act.
Insurance.
House Bill 287 by Representative Thomas of the 65th, Schofield of the 63rd, and Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 26 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to standards, labeling, and adulteration of food.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Resolution 125 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, Scott of the 76th, Jones of the 60th, Douglas the 78th, and Neal of the 79th. A resolution recognizing Dr. Barbara Pulley and dedicating a road in her honor.
Transportation.
Senate Bill 1 by Senator Donna Sell of the 27th, Gooch of the 51st, Anna Duarte of the 31st, Kennedy of the 18th, Moore of the 53rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions regarding state government.
Public and Community Health.
Senate Bill 26 by Senator Donazell of the 27th, Gideon of the 47th, Goodman of the 8th, Walker of the 20th, Hickman of the 4th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state government.
Governmental Affairs.
Senate Bill 36 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Albers of the 56th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Eccles of the 49th, Hatchett of the 50th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16.6.13 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to penalties for violating Code Sections 16.6.9 through 16.6.12.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
Senate Bill 37 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Albers of the 56th, Hatchett of the 50th, Summers of the 13th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 16 and Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding sheriffs.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 240 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the probate court of Clay County. House Bill 241 by Representative McLean of the 109th, Jones of the 60th, Alexander of the 66th, Glaze of the 67th, Cummings of the 39th, and others. A bill relating to minimum wage law. House Bill 242 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st, Stevens of the 164th, Petrie of the 166th, Lumsden of the 12th, Powell of the 33rd. A bill relating to the Georgia Drivers Education Commission. House Bill 243 by Representative Smith of the 70th, Collins of the 71st, Smith of the 18th, Jenkins of the 136th, Huddleston of the 72nd, and others. A bill relating to the number of judges of superior courts. House Bill 244 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Rhodes of the 124th, Deloach of the 167th, Sains of the 180th, Townsend of the 179th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions relative to game and fish. House Bill 245 by Representative Evans of the 57th, McLean of the 109th, Park of the 107th, Marin of the 96th, Carter of the 93rd, and others. A bill relating to minimum wage law. House Bill 246 by Representative Momtahan of the 17th, Parsons of the 44th, Dickey of the 145th, Tarvin of the 2nd, Burkle of the 169th, and others. A bill relating to conveyances. House Bill 247 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Bonner of the 73rd, Clark of the 100th, Williams of the 168th, Thomas of the 21st, and others. A bill relating to the Fair Business Practices Act. House Bill 248 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Irwin of the 32nd, Rhodes of the 124th, Collins of the 71st, Franklin of the 160th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions regarding sheriffs. House Bill 249 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Hilton of the 48th, Jones of the 47th, McDonald of the 26th, Gaines of the 120th. A bill relating to the needs-based financial aid program. House Bill 250 by Representative Sains of the 180th, Hitchens of the 161st, Kelly of the 16th, Townsend of the 179th, Mathiak of the 74th. A bill relating to civil practices. House Bill 251 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Drenner of the 85th, Kennard of the 101st, Evans of the 89th, and Hutchinson of the 106th. A bill relating to governmental entities prohibited from restricting utility service connection or sale of fuels based on type and ability to choose utility service. House Bill 252 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Bonner of the 73rd, Clark of the 100th, Ballard of the 147th, Prince of the 132nd, and others. A bill relating to appointment, compensation, authority, qualifications, training, and other limitations of associate probate court judges, crimes and offenses, domestic relations, education, military affairs, registration and licensing of motor vehicles, and retirement and pensions. House Bill 253 by Representative Mountahan of the 17th, Kelly of the 16th, Seabaugh of the 34th, Tarvin of the 2nd, McCollum of the 30th, and others. A bill relating to crimes and offenses. House Bill 254 by Representative Jenkins of the 136th, Cannon of the 172nd, Perkle of the 169th, Horner of the 3rd, Lott of the 131st. A bill relating to requirements of an official legal organ. House Bill 255 by Representative Corbett of the 174th. A bill to amend an act providing the election of board of members of the Board of Education of Brantley County. House Bill 256 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Green of the 154th, Carter of the 93rd, Marin of the 96th, and Bonner of the 73rd. A bill relating to prohibition of age discrimination in employment. House Bill 257 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, Scott of the 76th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Hughley of the 141st. Bill relating to general provisions regarding health. House Bill 258 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, Scott of the 76th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Buckner of the 137th. A bill relating to food, drugs, and cosmetics. House Bill 259 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Beverly of the 143rd, Scott of the 76th, Davis of the 87th, Mitchell of the 88th. A bill relating to general contracting provisions for the Department of Transportation. House Bill 260 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, Mitchell of the 88th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Thomas of the 65th. A bill relating to conservation and natural resources. House Bill 261 by Representative Lewis Ward of the 115th, McLean of the 109th, Bennett of the 94th. A bill relating to labor and industrial relations. House Bill 262 by Representative Lewis Ward of the 115th, Beverly of the 143rd, Jackson of the 120th, and Gilliard of the 162nd. A bill relating to agriculture. House Bill 119 by Representative House Resolution 119 by Representative Saines of the 180th, Townsend of the 179th, Petrie of the 166th, Mathiak of the 74th, Vance of the 133rd, and others. Resolution creating the Joint Study Committee on Censorship by Social Media Platforms. House Resolution 120 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, Burnell of the 77th, Taylor of the 92nd, Adenia of the 110th, Glaze of the 67th, and others. Resolution urging the Congress to enact legislation to repeal the government pension offset and windfall elimination provision for the Social Security Act and for President Joe Biden to sign that legislation into law. 3 second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Robert Dick in the 145th District, Chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, under consideration of the following bills of the House, instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 33 do pass. House Bill 132 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Robert Dickey, the 145th District Chairman. Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman of the Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications set under consideration following bills of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 92 do pass. House Bill 73 do pass by committee. Substitute respectfully submitted, Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman. Representative Sharon Cooper, the 45th District Chairman of the Committee on Public Health, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Public Health is under consideration of following bills and resolutions of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 129 do pass. House Bill 143 do pass. House Resolution 95 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Sharon Cooper, the 45th District Chairman. Representative Alan Powell, the 33rd District Chairman of the Committee on Regulated Industries, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Regulated Industries had in consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 76 do pass. House Bill 155 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Alan Powell, the 33rd District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Members, please take your seats. We're going to move on to morning orders now. But first, the chair would like to take a point of privilege. You know, this body was led over the years by two great Georgians, both of them from the mountains of North Georgia. Speaker David Ralston and Speaker Tom Murphy. We have the great honor today to have the son of Speaker Murphy, retired Superior Court Judge Mike Murphy, to be with us today. Let us honor you by recognizing you, Judge Murphy. We thank you for your service to our state and to your family's service to our state by supporting your dad. Thank you for being with us. We will now recognize our doctor of the day, Representative Miriam Parrish will stand in for Leader Beverly to introduce our doctor of the day. Representative Parrish.
Thank you, Speaker Burns. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I rise to introduce to some of you our doctor of the day. She is Dr. Keisha Renee Callens. She is an obstetrician gynecologist with Community Health Care Systems, a federally qualified health center network in Central Georgia. She currently serves as chair of the National Advisory Council for the National Health Service Corps and was a former NHSC scholar. She serves as a clinical assistant professor and Joy McCann Endowed Professor with Mercer University School of Medicine. She was appointed by the governor to serve on the Georgia Composite Medical Board and the Sandra Dunnigan Deal Early Language and Literacy Board. She serves on the board of directors for the Healthcare Georgia Foundation Board, the Georgia State Medical Association, and the Bibb County Medical Society. She is chair for the Medical Association of Georgia, Task Force on Physical Healthcare Workforce Resilience, and the Georgia OB/GYN Society Breastfeeding Medicine Committee. Dr. Callens brings a wealth of knowledge to women's health for rural and underserved populations and is actively involved in pipeline mentorship, translational research, and community engagement. Her personal mission statement is, "You may not be able to change the world, but you can change the world of everyone with whom you interact." Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Callens, thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor or privilege to be able to be of service to you today. If you are a male and you come to the station today, I may have a little bit of trouble taking care of you since I'm an OB/GYN, but I will do my best. And we have Nurse Julia Mack on standby, so between the both of us, we can figure it out. It's such a pleasure to be here today. It's Physicians Day at the Capitol, so I'm among friends. And you know, of all the things that were read in the bio, the thing that I think is most important for you to know is that I have an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old, and those are the two hardest jobs that I've ever had. So with that, I just wanted to borrow some words from our former Surgeon General, David Satcher, Dr. David Satcher, and I'm personalizing this quote for you. "We need legislators who first care enough. We need legislators who learn enough. We need legislators who do enough. We need legislators who will persevere until the job is done." And I'll leave my prayer with you as I say thank you for what you do on our behalf for the citizens of Georgia. And my prayer every morning is that God will give us the capacity to meet our calling and the passion to fulfill our purpose. Thank you so much.
We certainly are always blessed to have great physicians from around our state to be with us. And thank you, Doctor. We appreciate you being here. We now move on to morning orders. We have a long list of morning orders. We're going to ask each member to hold their morning order to 1 minute. We have a lot of folks that need to be recognized, so I hope we'll all recognize that and be aware that all the members need opportunity to address the folks who are here with them. So it's a big day at the Georgia Capitol. So we'll start with Chair Lady Cooper. Chair Lady Cooper. She's in. We'll skip right on over her then, since she's having a meeting in the back of the room. We'll move on to morning orders with Chairman Gerald Green. Dean Green, would you start us off with a morning order? And Chair Lady Houston, if you will join him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning we are happy to have in the balcony many wonderful groups. One of these individual groups is from Bruton Parker College. Former State Representative Roger Byrd, now the professor there, is in the balcony with his group. And Jacob Shield is with Speaker Burns' office. He is from England, and he is serving part of that time here at the state capitol. And as part of my other introduction, I'd like to introduce you to Chairman Penny Houston, who will talk about communities in school.
Thank you. It is so good to have communities in schools here at the Capitol today. They are making a difference in the lives of Georgia students all over. I had a resolution to read, but I'm afraid it'd take me longer than a minute to tell everything that that communities and schools are doing. So I'll just give y'all a little highlight. If you don't have a communities and schools in your county, you need one, because communities and schools of the children that they aid, 90% of the students aided by communities and schools graduate. 76% of students improve their attendance problem, and it improves their, and then 97% of high school students stay in school if you're aided by communities in schools. So if you don't have a communities in schools, please see about getting one. And if you meet any of these nice people here today, please thank them for what they're doing to make Georgia students have a better life. If all the people with communities in schools would stand up, we would like to recognize you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Community and Schools. We appreciate the great work you're doing for Georgians. Representative Seabaugh is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Point of privilege, I knew my high school alma mater was going to be in the room, but I did not know my elementary school Hickory Hill Dragon was going to be in the room. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for surprising me with that.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, I rise today to recognize the 2022 Georgia High School School Association 7A Boys and Girls Cross Country State Champions for Marietta High School. These young men and women of my alma mater have carried on a tradition of excellence with equal emphasis on character and academics. The phenomenal performance of these two teams are a clear indication of the outstanding athletic ability, dedication, hard work, and unity of purpose of each of them. I want to congratulate Marietta School Superintendent Grant Rivera and head coach Jack Coleman, who are with us today. Also coaches Rihanna Reed, Yolanda Payton, Jonathan Gamble, and a coach that coached my kids in middle school, Dave Rathenscraft, is with us today. My friends, there are more than 530 high school students in the state of Georgia, a small percentage of whom can proclaim the title of high school state champion. These champions are with us today in the balcony. If you will please stand, and colleagues, please give them a warm welcome to the state capitol. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
They're my alma mater too. Go Blue Devils.
It's a good day. Thank y'all for being here and congratulations. We now recognize Chair Lady Cooper, Representative Al, and Dr. Newton, Chairman Newton, for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad to be with my colleagues here, two physicians that are serving in the House. Glad to be a team member as a nurse with an advanced degree. And it's our pleasure today to welcome the doctors from across our state. This is Doctors' Day at the Capitol, and they are from all over, north, south, east, and west, where they serve the people of Georgia and trying to do the best they can for our patients. Most of the time, you don't see doctors there because they are dedicated to patient care and in their offices and in their hospitals across our state. And this is the one day that they join us. And so I hope you'll stand and give them a round of applause. And even though there are not a lot of them here, they're out in the hall, they can hear it. Yay! Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay.
I know that doctor.
Mr. Speaker, if I
Yep.
might.
Yes, ma'am.
That doctor does a lot for our Okefenokee Swamp. He's on the board. And that's an alligator, Representative Seabaugh, not a dragon. Yay!
It's a dancing alligator. Chair recognizes Representative Hilton for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We rise to recognize a group that's joined us today, the Conservative Policy Leadership Institute. CPLI is a training initiative designed to position Georgia to lead the nation in governance based on conservative principles and values. Founded by alumni from the Coverdell Leadership Institute, CPLI recruits public policy-oriented individuals who have demonstrated leadership experience and desire to advance solutions grounded in conservative thought. Not sure they made it into the gallery, but want to recognize CPLI this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Chair now recognizes Representative Frazier, Representative Williams, Representative Hughley, and Chairman Parrish for a very special morning order. Y'all want to hear this one? Listen up.
Thank you,
Joined by a
Mr.
lot of other
Speaker.
friends and supporters.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is Sickle Cell Day at the state capitol, and we are so honored to have our sickle cell warriors, especially your legislative warriors that are standing here today that support you. But we have our families, our caregivers, our advocates, stakeholders, our doctors who take care of our sickle cell constituents. And I would just like to welcome you to Sickle Cell Day at the Capitol. With us today in the gallery, we have our Executive Director for the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia, Ms. Tabitha McGee. And we also have our sickle cell champion, Master Lawrence Soares, and his mother, Ms. Greta Soares. Lawrence is 16 years old, lives in Gwinnett County, is an honor student at Grayson High School in his junior year. He represents the Sickle Cell Foundation across the state of Georgia in events sponsored by the Sickle Cell Foundation. So they are here today in room 216 from 11 to 1:30. I would appreciate if you all would just go by. You have constituents here that have came across this state to be here today to show you their appreciation for us always supporting them in their strive to live a more comfortable life. Thank you for being here, Sickle Cell Warriors. This is your day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative, and welcome, Sickle Cell Warriors. Chair now recognizes Representative Jasmine Clark and Representative Hutchinson for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Please join me in welcoming the Georgia School Counselors Association this morning, who are joining us in the gallery in the halls of the Capitol as we celebrate National School Counselors Week. The Georgia School Counselors Association supports school counselors in Georgia as they promote student success through improving student academic, career, and social-emotional development. Our counselors are here today, including President Laura Ross, whom I've also had the privilege of inviting to speak in the well as well. Would you please stand if y'all are here? I don't know if they made it into the gallery. Oh yes, great, they're here. Welcome to our school counselors from all across the state of Georgia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Great to have you counselors. Y'all do great work. Thank you. Representative Martinez is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Colleagues, today is Library Day. Library Day in Georgia. It's a great day. I want to recognize, Mr. Speaker, a couple of dignitaries that are here. Julie Walker, the state librarian. Stacy Brown, chair of Georgia Council of Public Libraries, State Libraries, and vice chancellor to Libraries and Archives. General Mullis, Library Director for Marches of Glenn and Georgia 2023 Library of the Year. Also, Loganville City Council, Brandon Whitfield, and board member, school board member, Lisa Luttrell. I'm going to read a real quick resolution because I believe that libraries are it. Recognizing February 8th, 2023, Public Library Day at the State Capitol. and for other purposes, whereas there's 410 public libraries that serve every county in the state of Georgia, whereas there were more than 13.7 million in-person visits and more than 23 million online visits in 2022, whereas there's 30 million books, media, material checked out from public libraries every year, whereas there's 1.1 million children attending reading times in public libraries, and whereas there's Georgia Public Libraries partner with Zoo Atlanta, Fox Theater Institute, the Georgia Commission for the Holocaust, the Atlanta Hawks, Georgia State Parks, Michael C. Carlin Museum, and the Center of Puppetry. Whereas by early literacy initiatives encourages children to read 1,000 books before kindergarten, as had had tremendous success and participation throughout all of Georgia, and further encourages family to engage with children's early learning. Now, therefore, be told verify the House representatives that the members of this body recognize today, February 8, 2023, as Public Library Day. Do not forget, we got outside between Mitchell Street, between the Capitol and Coverdale, we got the varsity truck from 11:45 to 12:45. Mr. Speaker, I yield your will.
Representative Martinez, you know what that red light means? It means to go, right? Thank you, libraries. That's a lot of books. That's a lot of books. Thank you for what y'all do for our young people and all the citizens of Georgia. And thank you for being here today. Representative Townsend is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Martinez, for the shout out to the Georgia Library Association. This is a special recognition for the Marshes of Glen libraries. Please stand up. I want to congratulate the head person, Jerry Mullis, also Anna Trapp, Denise Rokowicz, and Ben Bryson. These guys are the all-star team from Brunswick, Georgia, for being the Library of the Year. 2022 Library of the Year. Let's give them a round of applause. These guys are above and beyond with children's programs, early literacy, and also they actually work on workforce development too. It's important to everybody in the state, and these guys are trendsetters in the state. So again, Marshes of Glen, thank you for what you do, and Jerry and your team, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Carpenter.
Yes, sir. I'll make it quick.
You got it, sir. Come on. You're recognized for a morning order. Chairman Casey Carpenter.
Well, it's a big day in economic development in the state of Georgia. I'm here to announce the opening of the Athena Studios down in Athens, Georgia. $60 million investment on 45 acres down in Athens. To me, the biggest part of this film industry is watching it grow outside of the metro area, and this project here will be something I hope that echoes across the state, that there is opportunity for all areas of Georgia in film. And the really unique piece in this studio is also how it involves the actual University of Georgia from a workforce development and standpoint. It's really going to be a great project, and I know the legislators from the area are super excited to see it underway. 350,000 square foot of investment from Georgians into film. Thank you. I yield the well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership in that area, and thank you for demonstrating how to stay on time. Thank you so much. Chair Lynn Smith is recognized for morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. First of all, we have the youth leadership from Coweta County, Noonan Leadership, and our delegation. If y'all will stand, I didn't know when I'd get my time up here, but Mandisha, come forward. But please stand and let us recognize you over there. Thank you, colleagues. I'm looking at my light. I also have and speak on behalf of our delegation for all our 4-Hers who are here today. So they're out in the hallway trying to get in, believe it or not. So let's recognize them for a round of applause. And then personally and finally, please look in your trash cans, pull this folder out, open it up, and get your free park pass for all of Georgia's parks. They're near you, you're going to love them, and they're there for you and your constituents. Thank you.
Best parks in the whole United States of America, no doubt. Thank you, Chair Lady. Now let's see, we have Whip Burchett, Chairman Saines, Corbett, Meeks, and Perkle for a morning order. Who's going to do the talking? You have 1 minute.
1 minute. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to recognize today Okefenokee Risa. If you all will stand up in the balcony. We've got Dr. Greg Jacobs as the executive director, and these are all your superintendents from South Georgia, 9 South Georgia counties, and we want to recognize the leadership you have and continue to help us with our one of our most precious assets, and that's our children, and all the hard work you did through COVID and the work that you continue to do. So we certainly appreciate you and want to recognize each one of you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you all for being with us today. We appreciate the work you do with our children. Thank you so much. Chairman Dickey, you're recognized for a morning order, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to recognize a group that many of y'all saw this morning, our Georgia Young Farmers Association. They're walking around here with their red coats, and many of you have young farmer chapters in your counties. And so today is Young Farmer Day, commending the association and recognizing today is that day. It was founded in 1970 to serve as the primary adult education delivery system for young Georgia farmers. And today it stands as the nation's largest affiliate with 61 chapters and 6,000 members. So they render valuable service to their local communities through classes, field demonstrations, school tours, and many other educational activities. So we just thank you for your hands-on work with our young people, with our young farmers throughout our state, promoting agriculture and that workforce for our state and the importance of agriculture. So if you would, we've got some in the balcony, I think. I'd love for them to stand if they're there. Our Young Farmer Association. Well, thank you, and I hope many of you members had their biscuits. Representative Williams, they didn't have the bologna out there; they had the chicken. So, thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, young farmers. Glad to see you every year. Chairman Chokas, morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Along that same line, I have members of the FFA, the Sumter County FFA Advisory Group, and Sumter County Young Farmers, Phil Gentry and Brett Morgan. Please stand up if y'all are in the balcony. Also from Marion County, the same organization, the FFA Advisor, and also Young Farmers. John Hagan, where are you, John? Yo, stand up. Robbie Zimmerman and Amanda Macon, Amanda Macon, as well as the students that are future farmers. Y'all all stand up so we can welcome y'all. And on a second note, Mr. Speaker, the Marion County Middle School is having a fundraiser and gun raffle, and they're $25 a ticket, and I've got them on my desk, so if anybody wants to buy a ticket, please come to my desk. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes Chair Taylor, Darlene Taylor, Chair Corbett, and Chairman Whip Burchett. Who else?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And Chairman Newton, excuse me.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. This is a great day today. I didn't know we had so many people here today, but this is Okefenokee Swamp Day, and in our gallery we have the alligators in the house. Yay! Georgia has been blessed with unrivaled beauty in the Okefenokee Swamp. It's the largest blackwater wetland in North America. And the Okefenokee is recognized as one of Georgia's 7 natural wonders. And the natural area is something we should all be proud of. It's one of very few in the world. Today we have in the gallery Michael Luss, the Okefenokee National Wildlife Manager, Allie Ayler in the alligator costume, Bishop Dr. Michael Angelo James. He's the mayor of Waycross. It's very, very important. If y'all want to meet with them, they're going to be in the mezzanine today, and this evening they will be at the Georgia Terrace. Please welcome Okefenokee folks. Thank you.
It's good to have all you swamp creatures, no doubt. Hope you have a good day. Thanks, Chair Lady. We appreciate it. Representative Schofield is recognized. She waves. Thank you so much. I owe you one. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a resolution, please?
House Resolution 115 by Representative Jaspers, the 11th, Smith, the 139th, Wilkerson, the 38th, Dickey, the 145th, and Parsons, the 44th. A resolution commending the University of Georgia 4-H program and Ms. Venja Gunjal, Mrs. Melanie Beersmith, and the 2022-2023 4-H leadership teams, and recognizing February 8th, 2023 as 4-H Day at the State Capitol.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Chair now recognizes Chairman Rick Jaspers, who knows a little bit about 4-H. Chairman Jaspers.
Thank you, Speaker Burns and Clerk, for reading the resolution. You know, members, we're here today with a lot of other folks, but for me, it's to recognize a great program in our state, the Georgia 4-H program. You know, it's our youth development program that's part of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Science, the Cooperative Extension Service, what a mouthful, but they bring young people like this lovely lady that you're going to hear from in just a moment. They work across the state in all 159 of our counties. People like myself and Chairman of the Rules Committee, Chairman Smith, and I were extension agents and worked with these great young people. And it's just a very rewarding job for folks like me. You know, I've got this tie back in the 80s from one of my volunteer leaders, and who is their backbone of this 4-H program. There's a lot of people in green. You know, we've got a neat lunch today. You've got this thing in your thing. If the name isn't right, it's okay. Then we're putting them out. They didn't get it right. There's a luncheon at the depot that you're certainly welcome to find your 4-H'er, and a great magazine that you'll see how the effectiveness they have across the state and all the different things they do. You know, this past year, 150,000 young people were part of 4-H. And I'm just going to recognize a couple of folks. Of course, we have Dean of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Science, Nick Place, right here. Lori Parrott Johnson, who is the over the Cooperative Extension Service. But for me, I want to recognize the new 4-H lady. Now, that's what I call, she's got a fancy title, y'all. But I call her the 4-H lady because that's going to be her job in her future, is to be the leader of 4-H, and Melanie Byersmith right there. We appreciate you, Melanie. What we have as our guest is just bring a few words as the state president from Cobb County. Venja Gunjal is going to take a moment to address us. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, here we go, yeah.
Speaker Burns, Majority Leader F. Stratton, Minority Leader Beverly, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the House, guests, 4-H'ers, and staff, good morning. My name is Venja Gunjal, and I'm an 11th grade student in the STEM Magnet program at Cobb County and Wheeler High School, Georgia. I'm honored to serve as this year's State 4-H President and speak to you on behalf of over 152,000 4-H'ers across Georgia. 4-H has been a driving force in helping me explore my passion for science since I gave my 5th grade presentation on wind power. 7 years later, I continue to learn more about STEM through Georgia 4-H. 4-H builds the next generation of leaders by engaging youth people with life-changing experiences in agriculture and STEM, healthy living, and civic engagement. These opportunities are made possible by the dedication of volunteers, county agents, and other adult leaders that make Georgia 4-H the Youth Leadership Premier Program. On behalf of the University of Georgia College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences and all 4-H members, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your lasting support of a program that makes the best better for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay, good job, good job. Thank you.
What a great program for developing our young people in the state. Should I repeat what you said, Chairman Gunther? Chairman Gunther said, Rick, Chairman Jasper's tie is older than the speaker, older than the president. So there's something to that, I'm sure. Thank you, Chairman Smith as well, Richard Smith, for your years of service and leadership in the 4-H program. Thank you, sir. Mr. Clerk, we have another resolution that's brought to us by Representative Houston Gaines. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to the resolution?
House Resolution 108 by Representative Gaines, the 120th, Burns, the 159th, Jones, the 47th, Hitchens, the 161st, Collins, the 71st, and others. A resolution recognizing February 8th, 2023 is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day at the Capitol and commending law enforcement officers in Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members of the House, can I have your attention, please? Another important resolution. We're going to recognize first Chairman Bill Hitchens to speak to the resolution, and then Representative Houston Gaines to speak to the resolution. Chairman Hitchens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As everybody that's in this room probably knows, today is Law Enforcement Day at the state capitol. I was surprised when I came in this morning. There were probably 200 or 300 law enforcement officers outside on the second floor that were meeting. And I just wanted to say, sometimes they go underappreciated, but they protect us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They protect you, they protect your family, they protect your business, and they protect those interests that want to come to our country, to our state to provide for economic development. And I just, as I said previously, they're often underrepresented. I spent 43 years in law enforcement, and many of you know that I was a state trooper. During that time, we lost 15 who were killed in action, 2 when I was the commissioner, and you never have experienced anything when you stand up at a funeral and look at the widow and the children trying to explain what happened to them, and the fact that they were working to protect you. So I think Houston, Chairman Gaines here has got a resolution that he wants to speak to, but I appreciate you, and I just want to say that I know the majority of the people in here appreciate you as well. So many of you aren't here. I think some of them are still over the Senate, but if you're in the gallery, please stand up. If you're standing in the back, raise your hand.
Thank you, Chairman Hitchens, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are honored to have so many members of our law enforcement agencies across the state here today for Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. The Speaker, Chairman Hitchens, and many members up here signed a resolution honoring you for the work that you do every single day, putting your lives at risk. Several members, myself included, had the opportunity this past weekend to do a ride-along with the Crime Suppression Unit with the State Patrol Saturday night in Atlanta, and saw firsthand the work that you do, putting your lives on the line. I want to thank Lieutenant Charles Chapeau, who took me around Saturday night, kept me alive. Thank you, Lieutenant, and the great work that you do. I also want to recognize my sheriff, Janice Mangum, and we have representatives from the GBI, DNR, and State Patrol, along with Sheriff Mangum here up front. But thank you all so much for the work that you do. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We appreciate y'all's service, those of you in the balcony, those outside, and all of our public safety folks around the state. Thank you for being here. Thank to you two for bringing this resolution. We appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell, let everyone know that we're getting ready to move on to the rules calendar. Thank you for your patience and your attention this morning, members. Some important opportunities to honor Georgians this morning. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? The clerk will read the caption to HB 35.
House Bill 35, by Representative Hitchens, the 161st, Stevens, 164th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 and Title 52 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Georgia Ports Authority, so as to provide for powers of the authority to expand the arrest authority of officers of the Georgia Ports Authority in certain circumstances, and to provide for additional powers and duties of such officers. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from the 161st House District, Chairman Bill Hitchens, to present the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 35 is a retread from last year. I actually carried the bill. It went through the House pretty much unobstructed, went through the Senate, and I had a little bit of difficulty over in the rules in that I had another meeting I had to attend to, and the rules chairman wrote my bill down on a 3x5 card and promised he would carry it since it's a department bill, and he forgot. So here we are again. What the bill does is it gives the Georgia Port Authority Police jurisdiction for 1 mile from the boundaries of the Georgia Port Authority. And the reason for this is we all know it's the #1 economic indicator in our state, and it affects jobs in every county in our state according to University of Georgia research study. But the reason for this is they've had to buy property off-site. So what they want to do is to be able to protect that property. The #1 problem, I think, at the port is theft. And certainly if they have their commodities off-site, they want to be able to protect them. But it gives them full jurisdiction when they leave to where they get to their property, and they can make traffic stops, they can deal with criminal activities. And, you know, it's in my district, and I know full well in two of the areas, Port Wentworth and Garden City, where the overwhelming majority of the activity occurs in the container port. The traffic volume is so heavy. If you drive up and down I-16, you see all the trucks. Most of those trucks are headed to the Georgia port. 15,000 of them transit that port every day. Garden City and Port Wentworth are two small municipalities right outside the port. They have small police departments. They have 3, 4, 5 people working at a time. The Georgia Port Authority has 190 police officers, most of whom at some time in their career have been local law enforcement officers and have progressed up because it's a relatively good paying job. They have great benefits in retirement. So what this does is just allow them for the jurisdiction there, and and I guess what I have a letter from every police agency and both sheriffs in Brunswick and Savannah that advocate for this, because some of them don't have the ability to react to everything. So traffic backs up at the ports. Sometimes it backs up 2 or 3 miles. They have accidents out there, and this will enable the 190 police officers at the port to come out and handle those things and get traffic going again when they don't have sufficient personnel in the local agencies to handle it. And that's the bill. If you know, I ask for your favorable consideration, and I'll stand for questions.
Gentlemen, you yield for a question?
I yield.
You did an outstanding job.
I don't know about that.
You don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I yield the will.
We have a couple of members who would like to speak to the bill. Representative Rees. Representative Rees, come on down and you can speak to the bill. Representative Rees is recognized to speak to HB 35.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House colleagues, this bill will provide additional security at a point of critical infrastructure in Georgia, our Georgia port. There are a lot of valuable assets there, and this bill will help it from ever becoming a soft target that's attractive to people who want to do harm to our critical infrastructure. There are analogies across the state of police and public entities or nonprofits such as campus police, to some extent railroads, and of course public universities having police presence. So this bill is precedent under Georgia law. Just last year there was an effort that Representative Maynor led to have historically black colleges and universities have additional campus security, and that bill passed here 150-8. So I applaud Chairman Hitchens and others who've worked on this bill to make our critical infrastructure safer at the Port of Savannah, which is something that sets Georgia apart from most states, and we need to keep it safe. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. We have a couple of questions. I think this next speaker can probably answer anything that you have a question about. Chair now recognizes Representative Al Williams to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I know you know of what you speak. I got up a little early because I was prepared for a 20-minute presentation from Chairman Hitchens, and he finished much quicker, so I was not quite prepared to come up. But let me say this. There is nothing nefarious in this bill. The communities that surround the portion of the port that it's in are primarily African American communities. And far too often, something comes up that hurts those communities. This is not the case. This bill has been well vetted, 159-1 last year, and the entire Savannah delegation is for it, of which I'm an ex-officio member. I have a lot of constituents that work at the port. It is so very important. What the chairman said is it. you ever drive in that area, it can be a nightmare. Police departments that surround it just don't have the resources. They need the help. And don't worry about the part about discretion to arrest. Tell you something about arrest. I grew up at the military post at Fort Stewart. If you walk around one of those tanks and look at it and you're going to have a pass to be on there, you flat going to jail. You will not stop it almost. You're going to jail. And out there at the port where all of this valuable stuff is, if you go out there and you have no reason to be out there, you most likely should go to jail. We have lines of truck drivers who have to pass security checks to come on. So why should you not be subject to having a reason to be on the port? And all we ask is this. A lot of areas in Georgia that those in the Savannah delegation we don't know a lot about, but we know a lot about the port and its huge economic impact. We know that. Help us this time. And when you tell us something about something you have in your area that we know nothing about, we'll help you that time. It's a quid pro quo. Any questions now? Mr. Speaker,
Gentlemen, yield.
I'll yield.
Now, this question comes from Rayburn's Gap to Tybee Lights. So let's see. We're going to recognize a gentleman from the 6th House District, Representative Jason Ridley, for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To your right.
Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Having an inland port in Murray County, I got a question on this bill. Does that mean that the port in my county will also be able to enforce laws within a mile of that port since it's owned by the Port Authority?
That's a very good question, Mr. Ridley, and because I'm an expert on ports, I don't know the answer. But I can promise you this. It does affect Brunswick and Savannah's ports, and I am certain that whatever is needed to secure what's going on at your inland port is certainly going to be done, but I can't honestly tell you right now.
And follow up, if you don't care, one more question.
Yes,
on
sir.
line 91, it talks about that they have, that basically they have jurisdiction on public and private property within a mile, which in Savannah I understand because you got a road about a mile out, but if they do have authority in like my county, within a mile, there's homes all around us. We don't have the traffic backed up, so that kind of worries me a little bit. And I guess I should have asked, but I'm sorry I didn't, but I just need a little bit more clarification on what they would be able to do and what they wouldn't be able to do.
Well, you're right on one point, and I'll straighten you out. The first, yes, you should have asked. And the second issue is, I can't see a problem around your port as many guns as Ridley owns.
That's true. That's true. Thanks so much.
Gentleman, yield for another question.
One more, Mr. Speaker, one more.
Let's have two more if you don't mind.
You the speaker,
One of them
two
from
more it is.
one of them from a friend who knows a little bit about the ports, Representative Gilliard, who knows a lot about the ports.
Gentleman, yield.
Of course I will, my friend.
Isn't this an excellent bill that will continue to move the economic development forward for all Georgians because these officers would be protecting the goods of all of Georgia Port, therefore protecting goods for all citizens of Georgia?
You certainly speaking truthfully.
And isn't it also, the gentleman further yield?
I further yield.
Isn't it also true that you told the truth about the security of Garden City Police Department being one of the best security forces in the state, therefore making this a continuous great bill that these officers would only be protecting the assets of Georgia Port, and then Garden City would still have their jurisdiction to protect the citizens of Garden City?
You're right again, and you're on a roll, so don't stop.
I thank you.
Thank you.
One more question. I think we may clear up some of this. Chair recognizes Whip Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Isn't it true that the bill applies to all Port Authority property and that most all Port Authority property already has a security force in place, and this would extend 1 mile outside of that, every piece of property owned by the authority? Isn't it true? Isn't that true, Mr.?
Sir, you said exactly what I said.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think that solved the question.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative
Speaker.
Williams, this
Yes, sir.
is an important question. And
Yes,
I-
sir.
And I won't pose it, but I know that the former mayor, Representative Jackson from Savannah, has a question. Will clarify anything that may be in question here. Representative,
Thank you,
recognized.
Mr. Chairman.
I yield.
You, you yield, okay. Isn't it true that the ports sit in my district?
Yes. It is certainly true, Madam
One
Mayor
other
Representative.
question, one other statement, and I hope, Mr. I have to hate call him Al, that we're asking that people please support us in this endeavor.
Thank you, Madam. You as eloquent as ever, and you can still call me Al. If there are no other questions, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield well.
Thank you for your work on that there. I think on the bill, I think you may have gotten it over the top for Chairman Hitchens. Thank you so much. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 164, the nays 2. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to HB 52.
House Bill 52 by Representative Thomas, the 21st, and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to highways, bridges, and ferries, so as amend notice provisions relative to meetings for the election of board members and to provide for negotiations and requests for proposals relative to public-private partnerships. This bill having referred to the Committee on Transportation, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The chair recognizes Representative Thomas to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 52 is a retread of a bill, of two bills that happened last year. Didn't quite get across the finish line. They ping-ponged around, and we never did get a chance to get to an agree. It's made 6 sections. Section 1 makes email instead of physical mail the required notification method for legislative council to legislators for a call to the board election for the state transportation board. Section 2 replaces the term request for proposals with request for proposal revisions as one of the authorized negotiation activities for the Georgia Department of Transportation. Section 3 provides clarifying language on alternative contracting methods, specifically clarifies the statute's original intent to apply the restrictions on contract value and frequency to the CMGC, which construction manager general contractor method. Section 4 changes in modular or sectional housing units to be transported. It ups the length from 80 feet to 84 feet. Section 5 grants further ability of an appropriate county medical examiner to delegate their authority to qualified medical personnel in the field at the site of an accident. And Section 6 codifies that no one can abuse the Open Records Act to get personal information about a driver's location, travel history throughout the state, either directly or indirectly through any data by a vendor. And that's the end of my presentation. I'd be happy to yield for questions, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen, will yield for a question?
Yes, but Mr. Speaker, I will.
Well, he waved, so we don't have any questions. You did an excellent job.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If that's the case, then I will yield the will.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 167, the nays 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, if you will read the caption to HB 55.
House Bill 55 by Representative Williamson of the 112th and others to be entitled an act to amend Title VII of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to banking and finance so as to provide for definitions, to provide for dates, and to repeal laws relating to international banking corporations and bank agencies. This bill having referred to the Committee on Banks and Banking, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Williamson, Chairman Williamson is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I bring before you today House Bill 55, which is the annual Department of Banking and Finance housekeeping bill. This 110-page bill seeks to continue to regulate our banks, credit unions, money transmitters, mortgage service businesses, as well as our credit unions and check cashers. It continues to modernize and streamline our banking code by harmonizing terminology and definitions between the states. It addresses efficiency issues facing these regulated businesses while ensuring strong consumer protections. And is supported by the Community Bankers Association, the Georgia Bankers Association, the League of Southeastern Credit Unions, Mortgage Bankers, the Georgia Financial Services Association, and the Georgia Installment Lenders Association. Mr. Speaker, it's a lengthy bill, but it's just a cleanup bill. I'll be happy to take any questions at this time. If hearing none, I'll be happy to yield the well.
I see no questions, Mr. Chairman. Just a comment, I was on page 2 when I fell asleep last night, so thank you very much. It's a great bill. Thank you for bringing the bill. You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 164, the nays 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to HB 77.
House Bill 77 by Representative Green of the 154th and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 1562 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating the number of judges of the Superior Court so as to provide a 4th judge of the Superior Courts of the Daugherty Judicial Circuit. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes the Dean of this House, Chairman Green, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring for your consideration House Bill 77 by committee substitute. Some time ago, working with the Judicial Council, it was determined that the Daugherty Circuit needed a fourth judgeship. The council listed the need as the #1 priority for the judgeships in the state. The Albany-Daugherty delegation, made up of Representative David Sampson, Chairman Bill Yerda, Chairman Mike Chokas, and myself, unanimously support this legislation to create a new judgeship for the circuit. Also, the county commissioners endorsed this decision and will meet their obligation for its creation. Why do we need this judgeship? Our senior judge, Judge Willie Lockett, testified to the House Judiciary Committee with some very startling facts. The circuit has 10,000 plus pending felony cases. Over 2,500 of those pending felonies involve serious violent felony offenses. There are 50 pending murder cases. Many of these are gang-related. And we have over 600 in our local jail, with 200 Superior Court pretrial detainees that have been in jail for over 2 years. The cost to the Daugherty County is around $3,650,000 to have these 200 inmates for 1 year. The amendment to the House Bill 77 moves the starting date to July 1, 2023. And I want to thank Chairman Gunter and the Judiciary Committee for seeing the need for this particular legislation and passing it out unanimously. There is also in the '24 budget the money for another judgeship. And I am asking the members of this House to vote yes for this House Bill 77 by committee substitute. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and if there's no questions, I yield the well.
There are no questions. The gentleman yields the well. We do have a comment. Thank you for being very thorough, Dean Green, for all of the issues that surround the creation of this judgeship. Chair recognizes Representative Reeves to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To follow up on Dean Green's comments, as a member of the Judiciary Committee, to pass on the Daugherty County Judicial Circuit is relatively small. It's a one-county circuit, but Albany is a regional town, so it bears more than its share of criminal cases as well as civil cases. And the Judicial Council looks at statistics. They also interview the locals, and on the 3 judgeships which we'll hear this year, they have made sure that the locals have committed financially for office space, for local supplements. We had 4 House members who were at the committee in support of this bill. We also had Court of Appeals Judge Ken Hodges, who's a former DA, make comments to Chairman Gunter in support of the bill. So it's been thoroughly examined, and would ask for your support for this bill, and I yield the well.
Thank you for your insight, Representative. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas were 168, the nays 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Congratulations, Chairman Green. That completes our rules calendar. We'll now move on to afternoon orders. The chair recognizes Representative Kendrick for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. This is your 10 millionth reminder that next week is my Tech for All policy conference. You should have all received something in your office. So on February the 15th, we'll have a VIP event at ATDC where we'll talk to technology community stakeholders, as well as hear from our new technology chairman. So please come out to that from 4 to 6. And then on February the 16th at 8 o'clock in room 307, we will have a group, and I ask that you stop by and say hello to them as well. So if you need a calendar invite, you can grab me on the floor, and I will send you a personal invitation to the Tech for All Policy Conference. And if you sign up, you will be included in my wheel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Can't beat that. Chair recognizes Representative Hutchinson for an afternoon order, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, afternoon, colleagues. I am going to introduce to you today Bryce Barthelemy. Bryce is my cousin. And Bryce, over the holidays, was diagnosed with renal medullary carcinoma, which is an aggressive kidney cancer primarily found in adolescent black boys and is linked to the sickle cell trait. I didn't know that there was a cancer that was linked to the sickle cell trait, much less one that primarily attacks adolescent boys. A lot of people in this room were praying for my cousin, still are, and I just want to let you know that he had a PET scan last week, and there's no visible signs of cancer. So thank you, prayer warriors. My family thanks you, and Bryce thanks you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Great news. Prayers are answered. Representative Glaze is recognized for an afternoon order. You're getting better all the time, I can tell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand before you colleagues today to share a little bit of Black history of Georgia. I want to bring to your attention an unknown woman who did great work in this state. Carrie Steele Logan founded the Carrie Steele Orphanage in Atlanta. It is the oldest and predominantly black orphanages not only in Georgia, but in these United States. She was born enslaved in Georgia in 1892. According to what records we could find, she had no birth certificate and there's no information about her parents, but she was an orphan. And after the emancipation, she moved to Macon, started to work at the train depot, and then moved to Atlanta and started working for the Central Georgia Railway. At Atlanta's Union Station, she began to be concerned because there were children being dropped off in bathrooms and near her area where she worked. Because she had a compassion like John 15:13, greater love than no man, then he would lay his life down for his fellow brethren. She began to do that. She went to her employer and asked for a boxcar to place the children who had been abandoned in that boxcar during the day so that she could care for them. And at night, she began to take them home and to care for them. She began to outgrow where she lived. And guys, one fact, she was a black woman in the 1800s and began to own land. So the land and the home she took them to, she owned. Later on, she had become what we now know as the Carrie Pitts Orphanage. She married and later got a public-private partnership with the county of Fulton for 10 acres to serve those African-American children who needed a place to live. During that time, she began to ensure that they were schooled, number one, that they had religion, number two. She shared her faith with those young people. And number three, she got them ready for the marketplace. Sounds like work we do today. She began to place them in spaces and places with skill sets that were needed in the Atlanta area. Guys, what I really want to say is that property and that work still exists today. It is one of the most pristine and private orphanages in Atlanta, still serving African American children. The only thing I stand today to rise in honor of Carrie Steele Pitts is that her granddaughter is now running the orphanage. It is great work. It has served over 25,000 children. And to that we say thank you. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative Glaze. Representative Moore. It's great to see you, Representative Angela Moore. You recognized for an afternoon order.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, or still morning. So a week ago today, I was hooked to every machine that Emory University's main campus hospital had, including a tube up my nose and down my throat. And I was at the mercy of every nurse there. Wasn't even sure I was gonna make it back here, and it's the grace of God that I did. And I tried to stay safe throughout the holiday season. I did what Beyonce would do. I went to the basement, I baptized in the water, I plugged my sores with the pages of the Bible, and still I got sick on day one when I walked through the door. I came up here first of all to say thank you all for the ones that came there. I really didn't need to see you all. I didn't want y'all to see me looking like that, but thank you all for the calls and the texts. I really had no time to read them because every doctor at the university was in my room at every hour of the day. I received excellent, excellent care, and I had more doctors because we have a severe nurse shortage, and we didn't have nurses that could come in. 99% of the nurses at Emory University, which is vastly the largest hospital system that we have here in Georgia, a private, has visited nurses. And there's not enough nurses to tend to us, so the doctors are there having to really do an extra job. I just wanted to first say thank you all. My journey is not over. I'm back at the hospital the day after this thing is over here to take care of my health. But I want us to look at our visiting nurses. Please talk to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Encourage them to become the second most productive commodity that the world has, and that's to go into nursing. We'll have a lot of doctors. They will come. And doctors' life expectancies used to be at 55, now they're at 95, but we really need people to pull up the rear. We need Georgia nurses, we need them trained. We have universities all over the state that can bring in these nurses. When we are looking at budgets and we are allocating money, let's look at our nurses, because sooner or later these other nurses that are traveling are gonna go home. The ones we have here are still gonna have a mortgage to pay. So let's look at our nurses, because they could not do the job that the doctors were doing, and the doctors were really catching hell trying to keep up with the nurses. And so thank you all for taking good care of me and thinking about me while I was under the weather. I'm pulling up. I yield the well. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. We're glad you're recovering. Chair Lady Darlene Taylor, recognized for an afternoon order. It's almost afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I want to, in honor of Black History Month, bring you the story of a very remarkable African-American woman. Her name is Edna K. Williams. She was born in 1896 in Philadelphia. She was the daughter of a laborer and grew up in South Philly in an immigrant and African-American neighborhood. She would face many obstacles in her life, but she never let them get her down. She attended high school and went on to become a stenographer, a reasonable expectation for a woman at that time. Between 1918 and 1920, she married, she had a child, and got divorced. She even got remarried. In 1922, she decided to go to medical school. And despite the odds, at the age of 30, Dr. Edna K. Williams graduated from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. She was the second African-American woman to graduate from PCOM. And by the way, PCOM is our second largest medical school in the state, between their two campuses in Suwanee and in South Georgia. She practiced in the urban areas of Philadelphia, New Jersey, Washington, D.C. She practiced for over 60 years. She tried to retire at the age of 90, and she just couldn't do it. She loved her patients too much. She continued to work until she was 92 years old. She was quiet and soft-spoken, but firm and warm and a kind-hearted spirit. She was willing to share her knowledge and her perseverance, going through medical school, how hard it was as a woman, as a mother, and a woman of color. She was very much a role model, encouraging others to keep striving and to persevere. In this day, we are in such a need of physicians and nurses, and all of our medical care is in hurting condition. Her story can give us hope for those who want, but sometimes feel and lose sight of the end. Remember Miss Edna, perseverance, determination, and tenacity, and you can get there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you for that information. That's exceptional. That completes, yes it does complete our afternoon orders in the morning. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions?
Honoring the life and memory of James R. Jim Dellinger. Honoring the life and memories of Al and Millie Poloni. Honoring the life and memory of Susan Spradley Stevens. Recognizing February 8, 2023 as Okefenokee Swamp Day at the state capitol. Commending the Clayton County government, the Clayton County Chamber of Commerce, and the Atlanta Airport Chamber of Commerce, and recognizing February 9, 2023 as Clayton County Day at the state capitol. Recognizing February 14, 2023 as New Americans Day at the state capitol. Commending Ludwig Luazari, Miss Cobb County 2023. Commending Charlie Key, Miss Cobb County's Outstanding Teen 2023. Recognizing and commending the efforts of Unto the Least of His Ministry, Crosby Chapel Church, Hopewell United Methodist Church, and their young people in supporting the community in Ghana, Africa. Commending and congratulating Marcias of Glen Libraries. Recognizing and commending the YMCAs of Georgia for the important work they do in communities across the state promoting a healthy spirit. Recognizing February 16, 2023 as Alpha Phi Alpha Day at the state capitol. Recognizing and commending Hines Ward. Recognizing and commending Teresa Annette Bryant at her outstanding public service. And recognizing and commending Lucius D'Souza Martins. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. Now we're ready for announcements. Chairman Werkeiser is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Industry and Labor will meet today at 3 o'clock, CLOB 506. We'll be hearing from our newly minted Commissioner of Labor. Thank you.
Chairman Darlene Taylor recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, the Appropriations Healthcare Committee will meet at 1 o'clock in in the Capitol 341. That's Appropriations Healthcare, Cap 341 at 1 o'clock.
Chairman Rhodes is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Game, Fish, and Parks will meet 403 at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Representative Scott is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today at 3:30 in room 514, we will have a public hearing on House HB3, Student Living and Poverty Act.
Oh, thank you. Chairman Corbett's recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Rural Caucus will be meeting upon adjournment at the Ag Building. Georgia Forestry Commission is one of the sponsors today, so if you like clean air, clean water, and soft toilet paper, I need you to be there. And we also have our very own Todd Jones working with Georgia Tech. He will be finishing up the meeting, so great agenda today, so everybody try to be there. Thank you. I yield the well.
That's a good announcement. Pretty good food, too, I bet. Oh, yeah. Chairman Gilliard is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All members of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, we have lunch, grab and go in Club 310, followed by a meeting via Zoom. We have a great guest today, USDA Executive Director Arthur Tripp at 1 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Williamson recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Majority Caucus will have a luncheon tomorrow at noon in room 403. It went out on emails and had a little problem with some spam filters. Just want to make sure the House Majority Caucus knows there'll be lunch tomorrow at noon in room 403 in the Capitol. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Saines is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Special Rules Committee will have an organizational meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. in 406 Club. We understand there might be another Rules Committee meeting at that time, so we will be brief.
Stand your ground, man. Representative Lumsden is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the morning, 8 a.m., Insurance Committee, full committee. Need all of you present. 8 a.m., we have some business to take care of. CLOB 406. Thank you.
In the morning at 8. Chairman Tyler Paul Smith, there he is, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a reminder that the Judiciary Non-Civil Full Committee will meet at 3:30 this afternoon. 3:30 this afternoon in room 132 of the Capitol. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Tarvin recognized for an announcement. Come on, man.
Insurance Committee, Subcommittee on Property and Casualty will meet today at 2 p.m. in CLOB 415. We have two bills. We need you to be there. 415, Subcommittee on Property and Casualty, Insurance.
All right, subcommittee members, you heard it. You need to be there. Representative Jasmine Clark recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of GLBC, if you have not already reached out to me or my admin, Jennifer Clark, to RSVP for our retreat on Friday, please do so today. We have to have an accurate head count. Again, please RSVP by today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Help her out, y'all. Let her know you're coming. Chair Noel Williams recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today at 1 o'clock in 506 CLOB, Banks and Banking. Look forward to seeing you all at 506 at 1 o'clock, Banks and Banking. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Collins recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee will be meeting at 1 o'clock in 406 CLOB. If you make it, please do. We're not taking up any legislation, but we're going to hear from Mike Ayers, the Executive Director of the Post Council, about just what a good job we do in this state policing the police. Then also we're going to hear from some of the folks at the Georgia World Congress Center Authority about all the things that they do to keep us safe. So if you can be there, committee members, please come. 1 o'clock, 406 CLOB. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Bonner is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Defense and Veteran Affairs Committee today at 5:06 CLOB at 2 p.m. We'll be hearing from Commissioner Ross with the Department of Veteran Services. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Lady Lynn Smith, recognized for an announcement.
Good afternoon. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, CLOB, room 606, Natural Resource Environment, updates by Forestry Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Representative Vance Smith, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A Motor Vehicle Subcommittee on Driver Safety and Services will be meeting in the morning at 9 o'clock in room 606 CLOB. We'll be taking up 2 bills. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That completes our announcements. A lot of announcements about committees, time and place. You can go to the House website under schedule and you can check those meetings if you're included or if you would like to attend. So you have that second look to make sure you are at the right place at the right time. We do have pages today. Members, if you have a page, we invite the pages and the members to come down front, and we'll take some photos in just a moment. Chair now recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Thursday, February 9th, 2023.
Members, thank you for your patience and your attention today. On the motion of the majority leader that this House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February the 9th, 2023. All those in favor will say aye. No need to vote. All those opposed will say no. It was close that time. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.